In this lecture, the list of topics we will cover are as follows. First of all, we will study some interesting facts related to the eyes. After that, we will study the parts of the eye. Next, we will see which arteries supply blood to the eyes. Then, we will study the anatomy of the eyes and then study the structure of the eye. After covering all these topics, we will study the functions of the eye. So let's start. First, let's study some facts about the eye. Students, do you know that the human eye is made of 107 million cells? The second fact is that the human eye can differentiate between 10 million colors. After this, we come to the size of the human eye. Do you know that the human eye remains the same size throughout life? While the human nose and ears never stop growing throughout life, they keep growing. While the eye remains the same size throughout life. The human eye blinks 42 lakh times a year. Do you know that tigers can see 6 times better at night compared to humans? Students, do you know why pirates, that is, sea looters, wear earrings on their eyes? The reason is that they believe wearing them increases the eyesight of a human, and especially they can see better at night. Now, let's come to the parts of the eye. There are 4 major parts of the eye: iris, cornea, sclera, pupil. The color part of the eye is called the iris. You can see this color part in the figure. Next, the white part of the human eye is called the sclera, and in the middle of the eye there is a black dot, which is called the pupil. The pupil size is controlled by the iris muscles. They constrict and dilate the size of the pupil. If we talk about the sclera, I just told you it is the outer white part of the eye. If we talk about the cornea, it is the transparent and clear part, dome-shaped, which is clear and through which we can see, through which there is the passage of light, that is, light passes. Now, let's come to the retina. The retina is the innermost part of the eye, the innermost layer. You can see this layer at the back of the eye. We call this the retina. What is its function? It actually contains receptor cells. Receptor cells responsible for converting light into nerve impulses. That is, the light entering the eye goes to the retina and is converted into nerve impulses. And from here, through the optic nerve, it goes to the brain. So, the brain receives that vision which we see through the eye. Whatever we see goes through the eye, goes to the retina, and from the retina, it goes to the optic nerve and reaches the brain. So the brain receives that thing we see. Another thing I want to tell here is that the receptor cells in the retina are of 2 types, rods and cones. The rods help us see at night and in darkness. The cones help us see in daylight and bright light. Here, I want to tell you one more thing. If you have noticed, when you come indoors from sunlight, you can't see anything clearly. Everywhere it seems dark. After a while, you start seeing everything clearly. The reason is that when we come indoors from sunlight, at that time, the cones in our eyes are activated, while the rods are deactivated. So, as soon as we enter the room, the cones start deactivating and the rods start activating. So, it takes a little time for us to see everything clearly. This is the only reason. Now, let's come to the optic nerve. I just told you that light entering the eyes collects on the retina. Then, from the retina, it goes to the brain through the optic nerve. So, the brain receives the image there, and then we can see it. So what is the function of the optic nerve? To transmit the electrical impulses from the retina to the brain. One more thing I would like to tell here is that the brain receives any image upside down, meaning if we see anything it is upright, but the eye sees it upside down. Although it is upright, the brain then sees it upside down. So the brain takes the inverted image and flips it so we can see it. Now, let's come to the refractive structures. Refractive structures are in our eyes, and these structures bend the direction of the light passing through the eyes. These structures bend the light. There are of three types: tears, cornea, and lens. These are the three refractive structures in our eyes. Now, let's come to lids and lashes. We also have lids and lashes in our eyes. What is their function? First, their main function is to protect our eyes from any external damage. After that, they distribute tears in our eyes so that our eyes can be cleaned and lubricated. Now, let's come to the lens. There is also a lens in the eyes, and there are two types of lenses, convex and concave. The lens in our eyes is a biconvex lens. The biconvex lens is the one that focuses light in one place, that brings the rays of light into focus and produces an image on the retina. So this white lens you see, when light passes through it, the light focuses in one place on the retina. This is the retina. Then, from the retina, the image goes to the brain through the optic nerve. Now, let's come to the blood supply of the eyes, where the blood supply to the eyes comes from. The artery that supplies blood to the eyes branches from the carotid artery. The branch that comes from the carotid artery is called the ophthalmic artery. Its branches are the ciliary artery and the central retinal artery. These supply blood to the eyes. Now let's come to the functions of the eye. The main function of the eye is that whenever we see anything, whether it's day or night, we see it through the eyes. However, the various parts of the eye, such as the iris, retina, and lens, have their own specific functions. I will explain all these functions to you. First, let's come to the aqueous part. The aqueous humor in the eye supplies oxygen to our eye. Because our eye is also a living part, so it needs oxygen to stay alive. It receives oxygen from the aqueous humor. Our cornea, lens, and iris receive nourishment and nutrients from the aqueous humor. Another function it has is to excrete waste products produced by the lens. It also maintains intraocular pressure. The shape of our eye stays the same due to intraocular pressure, which is why the shape of our eye remains constant. So these are all the functions of the eye: supplying oxygen, providing nourishment, removing waste products, maintaining eye shape, and maintaining intraocular pressure. Question of the day: what is the transparent front layer of the eye? Only a genius can answer in the comments below. If you would like to watch my other lectures on topics like the lungs, kidneys, liver, brain, and eyes, visit my channel to view my other videos.